Recording now, this is lesson 1.3 on factoring and GCF. Before watching the recording, please make sure that you have the 1.3 factoring and GCF worksheet in front of you, along with a pencil, and perhaps some different colored pens or pencils are optional if you choose to do the rainbow method for arrays, which is what I'm going to do on this video. So if you need to pause the recording to collect those items, please feel free to do so right now. Now I'm going to continue, and before we get into the example on the worksheet, I'd like to start off with some vocabulary. So take your highlighter. I'm going to take my highlighter here. And I'm actually going to highlight GCF here because GCF is a new vocabulary word for you this year. And that refers to the greatest common factor. So please jot this down. The GCF refers to the greatest common factor of two or more numbers. And we talk about that in terms of the context of factoring. You also have common factors here too. And common factors are basically factors that two or more numbers have in common, or factors that are the same across two or more numbers. So basically, numbers that are the same for two or more numbers when we talk about factoring. Now, what I'll do for this lesson is I'll just do the first example with you, and this is how I would suggest you do the rest of the questions on this worksheet. This will be an extension of what you learned in terms of factors and arrays in lesson 1.2. So for the following sets of numbers, list all of the factors for both numbers. My suggestion is to use the rainbow method for arrays, if you remember in the previous lesson. So with 16, and remember anything that I'm doing in black, you should be doing in pencil on your page. Factors of 16, if you want to pause the recording and try to do this yourself and then replay it afterwards, I invite you to do so. Otherwise, I'm going to continue. So for 16, we always start off with 1 and itself, right? So 1 times 16 is 16. I know that 16 is also divisible by 2, so I'm going to go 2 and 8 are factors of 16. Just a reminder to list them pretty far apart so that you're listing them in pairs and you can pair up the arrays afterwards. Now I think, is 16 divisible by 3? No. And then I go up numerically from 3. I know that 4 is a factor of 16. It's actually 4 times 4. Now, I'm just going to list 4 once because I know I've hit the middle when there's no more whole number factors on the other side of 4. So I'm going to take my different colored pens, and again, you can do this optionally. You don't have to, but this is what I'm doing. 1 and 16 is one array, 2 and 8, and then you're left with 4 by itself, right? Okay, now the factors of 24. Again, if you want to pause the recording and figure out the factors of 24 by yourself, and then replay the recording to check your answer, please feel free to do so. I'm going to continue. So I know it's 1 and 24 because 1 times 24 is 24. I go up numerically from 1. I look at 2. 2 times what equals 24? It's 2 times 12. I go up from 2. I know that 3 times what equals 24? It's 3 times 8. I go up from 3. 4. 4 times what equals 24? It's 4 times 6. Now, I know that 5 is not a factor of 24, and on the other side of 5 we have 6. So now we know we've hit the middle when there's no more whole factors on the other side of 6. So we have completed our factoring of 24. So again, I'm going to join them up using the arrays. So we've got 1 and 24. and then we've got 2 and 12, and then we've got 3 and 8, and then finally we have 4 and 6 in the middle. So now we've listed all the factors of 16 and 24. So our next task is to list the common factors of 16 and 24. Just a reminder that the common factors are the the factors that are the same across two or more numbers. So I'm going to take my yellow highlighter, and you can do the same as well. Take your yellow highlighter and highlight the factors that are common with 16 and 24. Okay, so as you can see, I've highlighted, and I'm going to jot this down in pencil. I've highlighted 1, 2, 4, and 8 as being the common factors of 16 and 24. Now, which means that the greatest common factor of 16 and 24 is 8. Now, I encourage you to follow the same method that I did here for the example of 16 and 24 for the rest of the questions on your worksheet. So remember, our goal is to identify ultimately what the GCF is of two or more numbers. This is one method to identify GCF. There are other ways to do it, but when you're asked to list all of the factors and find the common factors, the best way to do it is to use the rainbow method in identifying all of the factors.